When Yes Theory tried to sell an NFT to crowdfund a film, there was a backlash from their audience, and then when they tried to sell them a course, there was a backlash again. Their viewers were no theories. But there's a reason why they caused such an outrage. So in this video, I'm going to show you some new ways to sell on YouTube without ruining your reputation using this, the castrate selling system. Oh, the name. I need to work on these names. And I know these work because I got my business to 7 figures using them. It's pretty much all I've ever done, and now my email looks like this. Sorry to be that guy, but I really need to prove to you that this works. All right, so before we castrate together, we need to look at how often you should sell to your audience and what you need to do to ensure you don't have a no theory moment. Let's just start with how often you should sell. So many moons ago, Gary Vee came up with this idea that you need to jab a ton in marketing before you give a right hook. The idea being you give a load of value, which is a jab, and then promote less often, which is a hook. Can you tell I've never boxed in my life? The thing is, the 80-20 rule has also been bandied around, and that states you need to give value 80% of the time and promote 20% of the time. Just to make things even more confusing, there's been studies done that show the ratio of give to ask is actually more like 3 to 1. Great, so which one do I go with? Well, I gave for years on my old channel Film Booth and never really promoted that heavily, but when I finally pushed a product, I got replies like this: Ed, I've been waiting for so long for you to release something like this, count me in. So really, what's more important than the selling ratio is that you have this. Okay, so imagine to make sales, all you need to do is fill this glass here with this delicious Guinness. Deliciousness test passed. The more Guinness you get in the glass, the more sales you make without wrecking your reputation, because this Guinness represents goodwill, basically how much your viewers value and trust you. So this is channel A, and they're new, and the content they've got on their channel is all a bit random, and they're not really bringing people back to watch it, so they have this much goodwill. Glass B has been around for about 6 months, and is bringing in thousands of views per video now because they're flipping smart, and they're getting lots of comments, and they're clearly starting to build a strong community, so their goodwill's up to here. And then Glass C, this is a channel that's been smashing out content for years, and their goodwill's almost overflowing. Now imagine that every time you sell, you potentially remove some of that goodwill. What happens when Glass C sells is, I drank too much, I need to fill it up again. What happens when Glass C drinks is, the viewers slurp and they spend all their money, and then the next video, oh, the glass is overflowing again. Now, when Glass B sell, they've still got loads of goodwill left with that smaller audience. But Glass A, well, it's empty now, and that means that the viewer has nothing to drink, so it's pointless them offering anything. The truth is, you can promote a product and a service at any time, but really, for it to be effective, you need goodwill with your audience. The more you have, the more money you'll make, and the more excited people will be to support you, and the less your reputation will get wrecked. So the first thing to accept is, you only really want to be selling when you have been giving for a while. What that means is, jab, 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 hook for the Glass C people really needs to be jab, 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 hook. I accidentally spoke some Klingon. But after you've built goodwill, I don't really have a solid answer for which of those 3 options to pick, as I kind of think it depends on your niche and also what you're selling and how much goodwill you have. Really, like most things in business, you just need to pick one and then try to optimize from there. But how do you know when you have enough goodwill so that selling won't wreck your rep? Well, firstly, we need to consistently make videos so we can at least build your glass up to here. And you'll know you're around here because firstly, you'll be getting around 3,000 to 10,000 views per video on every video in the first week. And then secondly, those videos will be getting a strong comment to view ratio in the first 24 hours. So if you get 1% plus, that's a great sign your viewers are actively engaged, assuming they're all positive and you didn't just offend everyone. Thirdly, you're gonna have people signing up to your email list, seeking out even more of your value. Now, I like to advise people get to 1,000 subscribers on their email list before they start selling something, so keep that in mind. And you're gonna also know that you're doing a great job of nurturing that list, because when you send emails, you get replies like I do, saying how amazing your email is every week, because I put so much work into it, and you can sign up in the link below. Now, these are just a rough guide I use. It's totally possible to make sales from your first ever video, but the more videos you have for people to binge on your channel, the more goodwill you will build up. All right, so before we move on to different ways to sell without wrecking your rep using the castrates method, there are 2 more important things you need to understand about selling that will, firstly, they're gonna stop you freaking out when someone does take issue with you selling, and secondly, they're gonna stop people taking issue in the first place. So let's start with some of the best business advice I was ever given that's gonna show you what to do when people do complain. And this advice is gonna help you deal with hate big time, and it's this. So you need to realize that no matter what you do, 5% of people will never be happy. What that means is you could sell a course teaching people how to paint, and even if you flew to everyone's house for free and then set up all the paint for them and moved their hands for them and created a masterpiece and then cleaned up afterwards, they'd still say things like,
oh, you didn't take your shoes off before you came in. Oh, you left a spot of paint on my table. Oh, I thought you'd framed the painting.
Some people just complain no matter what you do, even if you have infinite goodwill. When you can accept that, this isn't going to bug you so much anymore, and you will tolerate the 5%. And it's critical that you do, because even though what I'm about to show you will make selling much more accepted by people, someone's always going to take issue with it. Which brings us on to the second way to stop your credibility taking a hit when you do sell something, and the reason Yes Theory got so much hate when they did. By the way, if you don't know who Yes Theory are, they make videos about traveling the world doing crazy stuff. So twice these poor guys had to deal with an uproar when they sold to their viewers. But both times it happened for the same reason. The first was because they tried to sell an NFT to fund a film, and the second was, well, they sold a course about YouTube. Gotta watch out for those cretins who sell courses about YouTube. Link in description. I sell one, by the way. Yeah, that's it. So why didn't that work? Well, it's really simple. The best way to think about selling something to your viewers without ruining your rep is like this. My friend was in India recently and he had his Ray-Bans on his head, and he bent over and they fell off and smashed. He went down to pick them up, and by the time he stood back up again, there was a man holding a new pair out saying, "Do you want to buy some glasses?" Of course he did. So he went into the store and he bought some. What a sales guy. Now, usually when you're walking down a street and someone tries to sell you something, it's annoying. You don't really want what they have to sell, you just want to get where you're going. So you have a brief moment of discomfort where you try to avoid them. This is why Yes Theory had a problem, because as a general entertainment channel, a YouTube course and an NFT is more like thrusting a product someone they don't want as they walk down the street. And that just feels like the creators don't really understand their viewers, and it can come across as a cash grab. So to avoid this, all you need to do is provide the perfect solution to your viewer's problem, like the glasses salesman did to my friend. And then when you do that, promotion can actually feel like an amazing service. So to sell in a way that doesn't wreck your rep, it's about understanding your audience and their problems, and then letting them know you have a solution that's in line with them. It's kind of it. But what is a good match? Well, it's all about matching a big problem to your solution. So Finzar, for example, sells editing presets, and when you're watching his videos, he's using them. So you see how well they work. And when he says you can buy them, it's like, great, I need that. That looks awesome. Where do I sign? There is still one issue though. So for a lot of us, myself included, our YouTube channel's audience is actually a little bit wider than the product or service we provide for. And due to the nature of the platform, you can't really have 100% of your viewers all be the perfect fit. So with that in mind, how do you sell that it doesn't wreck your rep or make you look sleazy to the right people and the wrong? Well, this is where the castrate system comes in, and our first C. Oh wait, there's one C, isn't there? And it's very powerful and an often ignored part of YouTube, but it's amazing for sales. Can you see on this sales graph when I used it? Yep, there's our big old spike. Now, I need to mention that for people under 500 subscribers, you can't actually access this one yet, but when you can, it opens up a whole new window for community building and sales. And it's this, the community wall. But how do you sell on there without annoying more than 95% of people? Well, the first thing you need to do is follow the process that we've been talking about and give value more than you promote. So write posts, educate, and build your goodwill on a regular basis. Now, the cool thing about this is if you're using other social media platforms, you can repurpose that content, or you can repurpose your community wall content, well, wherever else you write. So I posted all of my tweets for an entire year here. At the same time, I stopped making videos for my larger channel Film Booth, and this written content doubled my turnover. So here's a few tips for using this, because it's a little bit misunderstood. So firstly, the community will posts to new people as well as existing viewers. I picked up 1,000 subscribers and generated 5.8 million impressions from it last year alone. But it's worth noting, I don't really advise you try and use this to grow a channel. And then the second thing you need to consider is the first time you promote yourself here, I probably wouldn't expect that great a result, because you're going to be new to writing sales copy, and there's an art to writing promotion. So unless you have feedback from someone more experienced, you need to practice and test things over the long run. That's why I have a copywriter in my community helping me with their sales content, because it's the quickest win. But make sure you just don't give up on it. I have a ton of proof this works. And then thirdly, it appears the community will needs a little bit of firing up. You probably won't get that many impressions on your first post. In fact, it felt like the more I posted, the better it got. But maybe that's just because the content I put evolved and improved. And then there's one more thing I love about this. You get data. So you can see what got the most engagement too. And that means any post that really performed well should probably be turned into a video, right? So how do you write up some promotion for the community wall after all of that value that doesn't wreck your goodwill? Well, start with a simple hook to get attention. Make sure you add a 1080 by 1080 image that works in a similar way to a thumbnail would to get attention, and then write the problem the viewers have in a really short sentence or two, and then unpack the solution, which will be your product. This is just one method, but just ensure you don't overcomplicate it and keep it simple. You can actually use the last S in castrates here too to great effect. Okay, so the next part of the castrate system is really simple, yet it's critical for sales, and I'm always blown away by the amount of YouTube channels that have just totally screwed this up. And it's all about the about section of your channel. I see people using this as another subscribe link to advertise at Instagram, to promote another channel, and all sorts of weird stuff, but that's not going to help you make sales. Really, you just want to have like 2 links here. 1, your product, 2, your email. If I'm honest, 1's probably the best strategy. The main channel link can and does get clicked a lot, so make sure it's pointing to something that can introduce people to your products and services, because it's just a really quick win and you don't really have to sell. But also, the people who click it have gone out of their way to look at your About Us. And what that usually means is they're interested in learning more about you and what you offer. So seeing a sales link here can feel like a really great service. Now, the second part of this is, again, another clusterfuck on YouTube. Basically, if you want someone to buy something, don't ask them to walk through a maze that looks like this to discover it. Give them one that looks like this and make it as easy as possible for them to find. And to do that, you just gotta tidy up your video description. You'll be blown away by the amount of people that look at your description. I mean, think about your own activity on YouTube. You hit play, then you watch a bit, and then you read the comments, and then you look in the description, and then you go back to the video. I mean, that's what I do anyway. So if you want to generate sales without saying a thing about your product in a video at all, you need your top links to be your product and your email list. And really, that's all you need. Next, we have our S, and this is the easiest way to build goodwill because you sell behind closed doors. And there's a few ways to do this. And I'm gonna give you two of the simplest ones. So you first just drive people to your email newsletter. And then when they sign up, you set your tech so that it sends them to a thank you page with information on afterwards about your offer. Now, this isn't so much about hoping they buy there and then, more about letting them know you have a business, but sales can and will happen this way. Then you automate it to send them a welcome email, letting them know that they're in. And you quickly explain how your weekly email works. And at the bottom, you just put a simple PS message letting them know you have an offer that they might find useful to check out. That's it. It's not a hard sell or pushy, just a welcome message and a, oh, and by the way. And then you just send an email every week to that list and you can do the same thing. Put a PS at the bottom with a sales message, and if you stick to the 80-20 or jab-jab or 3-1, you can then send outright promos between a certain amount of emails each, and this is how Justin Wells is generating millions. And then we have the T, and this represents the quickie. But what does that mean? What, dirty? Well, this is when you sell in a video, but the trick is to do it in a way that's really fast. So for example, you'd say something like this at the end of a point you make.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to go much deeper on that, check out the link in the description.
It's like a sentence designed to get people to look at your link, and then all you do is make sure the link's really visible at the top. Next, we have our R in cast rates, and this one I call reviews. But it's not about reviewing your products, it's actually about getting very smart with the things your clients say about your services. And it works like this. So let's say you sell courses on learning to play the guitar. You could set up a point in your video like so.
So this next trick has been getting my students the most insane results. In fact, Julie here went from having never played the guitar to performing live on stage a month later using it.
You see what you do? You tell a short story that backs up the power of your next point and why it works using evidence of the results you've gotten for your clients. And then to make this even more credible, you want to show on screen something that proves it. This doesn't feel like an advert, it just feels like a great part of the video. And so long as your link in description has text next to it that makes it very clear clicking it will help people get that result as well as like Julie did, then you get some traffic. Really, every video you make can include something like this. Just keep in mind all of those wins you've got on people. And I've got a giant bank of them in a Dropbox. Every time I get an email from a client or a message in a Discord, I screenshot it and I put it in. And then when you do this, it also means you can build a giant wall of love on your landing page, which is going to help those link in descriptions convert. So the next part of our castrate system is what I call the after sign up. The idea here is you get someone's email and then you put them through an automated nurture sequence. This could be an email a day for 7 days. Some people have a giant 30-day sequence that sends different emails based on how people interact with them. Personally, I actually don't have any of these, and I actually think most people overcomplicate them, but they are an option. So the idea is you give people value via email as well as promo, and then hit them with a final call to action on the last day of your sequence to get them to nibble, usually with some more urgency. And there's a ton of ways to do this. That's just one basic example. But really, I think if you're new to this, or even if you're not, don't start here. Try the regular, simple email sign up, as I mentioned earlier on, and then look to build this over time if you think you need it. The one thing I really don't like about this, though, is if you don't know how to write sales copy and you send 7 emails to people, that's 7 bad emails more likely to put someone off than get them excited. So you want to walk before you can run here. Our T in castrates is just really simple. I'd recommend doing this later on in the video or after you've dropped a ton of value, and all you do is just tell people you have a product or service. Again, do it quick in 1 or 2 sentences, and that might sound like this.
By the way, I have a 90-day program to help people go from complete noob on the guitar to smashing out solos. I left a link below if you want to fast track your playing.
That's it. The E in castrates is amazing for sales. In fact, some people make the bulk of their money doing this, and I call it engagement content. And the idea is this. It's not content that's supposed to grow your channel super fast. It's more about looking after the community you do have with deep dive live streams. And one amazing way to do this is to actually ask your viewers to send in work, and then you give feedback on it. So for example, our guitar channel could do a live stream called Roasting Viewers Solos, and then they could get feedback and show people how to improve them on the live. What I love about these are you can hype your live stream via the community wall, ask people to join your email so they can submit their work to your roast, meaning you grow your list too. And then your stream, which also turns into a video, can generate you views and sales forever. Also, people who turn up to lives are generally the most engaged viewers who are interested interested in the topic. So inside the stream, promote your offer using the methods I've shown you, and at the end, unleash a bigger call to action that breaks down your offer. And then our final letter is the biggest, baddest, fastest way to sell to your audience without anyone hating you. In fact, I guarantee you they will love this. This is the type of video that can blow up too. It'll build massive credibility, and I think everyone needs to learn how to do them. And over the years, they have generated millions of views on my own channels, and it works like this. Trust is very low on YouTube. And just to prove how low trust is with new viewers, when you look at your click-through rate data for new versus return viewers, look, cold viewers always give way lower click-through rates and way lower retention, and the return viewers always inflate those numbers because they trust you. So if we simplify sales, all you need to do is turn more cold viewers into return viewers, and if you do that, you can build more goodwill, and that is critical. But how do you do that? We make one of these a case study, or in the world of blowing up YouTube videos, a challenge. So in this video, you just document yourself talking about the problem your viewers have, and then you show how you solved it to get a result. Videos like this are incredibly engaging to watch because you harness the power of storytelling, and for that reason, they never feel like a sales video. So look at Simon Squibb, investing in strangers' businesses. Lots of views, amazing story, perfect storm on YouTube. Baser bought a failed business and turned it around and got millions of views. And then here's some from me. They're the ultimate views generator, and you never have to sell it at all. You just make a great story that your viewers will really enjoy, and the video will do the hard work for you. Now, I've written a very detailed script on how to produce one of these, and I'm going to be launching it soon, so subscribe so you don't miss out on that. I've never spoken about this before either. The thing is, now you know how to sell without wrecking your rep. How on earth do you come up with a product that people want to buy in the same way my friend bought his sunglasses? Well, I've put together a string of videos to show you just how to do that, so you can watch this playlist here, and by the time you finish, it's going to have a much clearer idea of how to make money on YouTube.